I was terrified as I watched the tallest peak of the tallest pine tree shaking violently. Hello and welcome back to Talk About Strange. It's still Friday and I'm going to try to get another story out. If not, then you're going to see this Saturday. But we'll see what we can do. I was going through cleaning up some emails and I found some more stories in here. I don't know how they get lost and mixed up, but it's always nice when I find them and I can share them with you. I got one that actually goes back a little bit here. Not too far, but I want to get that shared. What do we got here? So I don't have any updates. You just probably already watched or you're about to watch. We gave birth to multiple or several Bigfoot babies. Wow, what a story that is from Anna, about Anna and Tommy. That's amazing. If you haven't seen that, you're going to watch it. If you haven't seen the whole saga, start with I gave birth to Bigfoot's daughter. And then that just follows through to part 2, and then the reunion. And then there's this one here. Oh boy, there's a whole bunch. So anyway, I'll put it all in the playlist. So check that out. I started working on doing a playlist. Actually, that reminds me, I'm going to add this to that one to the playlist. So, I have a great Bigfoot story on here that's, well, she calls it a Sasquatch, and really wild experience. There's a couple really short stories here. I'm going to go ahead and share them with you first, and then we'll get to that, and you guys can get on with your Friday evening and or Saturday, whenever I get this up. Let's start here. Hi, Steve. It's Sarah. I want to see a Bigfoot over here. Haha. Sarah's from the UK. So my story takes place 34 years ago. I was 18 when my mom passed away, and my father, myself, and my brother and 2 sisters all went to the hospital to be with her on what was her remaining time. After an hour or so, I stepped outside to gather myself, and as I sat on a bench not feeling the cold, it was February, a little elderly lady came walking up to me in a cotton skirt, slippers, and a thin white blouse. She sat next to me, and I said, are you not cold? It's very chilly out this night, my darling. She smiled at me and said, can you walk me inside, please? I said, absolutely, no problem. As we walked down the endless corridors, she said to me, now you must not worry your mind. And I nodded, and she carried on. Your mom is going to be just fine. Her parents are waiting, and all of her brothers. I was like, what? She continued saying, here she comes now. I looked and saw nothing, but I could smell my mom. Everyone knows to smell their mother, don't they? Anyhow, she apologized, saying, I'm sorry you missed her, but she's fine, and you know goodbye is just another hello, right? I was a bit bemused, but I took this lady to the nurse station and told them that she was outside in these thin clothes. The nurse looked at me and said, who was outside? I had my arm linked around through this darling woman's arm, and I felt her. But where she once stood, she was no longer there. So I apologized, feeling a little bit like an idiot, excused myself, and headed to my mother's room just around the corner. I got there, and my father, etc., and everyone was crying and said, she's gone, Sarah. Anyone who had been through this will know that what I mean when I say my stomach lurched and I felt so nervous. As we left the hospital sometime later, my dad needed to use the men's room, trying to keep this word in American so my friends across the pond know what I mean. He came out a short time later and said, well, that was weird. I said, what was? He said, there's an elderly lady in there who said my wife was at peace and happy, but sorry she had to leave us all. I didn't say anything to him about my chat with this lady. I just thought she might be probably a guardian angel of such. I didn't even tell him before he passed 2 years later. Not a great story, I guess, hardly in the league of the 2 ladies who had children with the big fella, but this is my contribution to your channel and my online family. I do have others, but for other time. Keep going, fella. You're coming up leaps and bounds. Be proud of your achievements as we are of you. Take it easy, Sarah. Thank you, Sarah. It's a great story. Just for a lot of people, for a lot of reasons, that have lost somebody. Just a little confirmation that, that they're still out there, or even, like you said, a guardian angel. So sweet story. Thank you for sharing that with us. I'm going to get right on to the next one here. This is super short, but I want to share it with you. So he wants to be called Craven. He wants us to know he is a veteran. Hi, TAS family and Steve. I'm a disabled man, like I said last superpower video. I think I have that thing where when something happens, I remember it since I was 1 to 2 years old as well. My story, I saw my buddy get shot in the head by a sniper. And when I came back to it, I grabbed my buddy by the collar and said, "You're going to get shot in the head." After he saw the round hit the ground where we were kneeling, he realized and stood up and said, "Let's get the dog," and just knelt down. And then I took aim at the corner window. So this one was a little baffled for me. So I kind of worked my way through it. But, I get what you were saying. So you had a vision that your buddy was going to get shot in the head and grabbed him by the collar and moved him. And then you seen the bullet or whatever hit the ground where you guys were kneeling. So, that's pretty wild. You saved his life. And then apparently you grabbed a dog and it went for cover, and you aimed for the window where it came from. So I get it. That's wild. I've heard a lot of stuff like that. My second story, when I was younger, maybe 14 to 16, I remember what age I was when it happened. My stepfather was cutting up some firewood with a 20-ton log splitter that he had gotten that day. He asked me to hold the logs in case they'd roll off. But after about the 5th or the 8th one, my left glove got stuck between the log splitter and the back of the log splitter and cut my thumb clean off. Ouch. In the middle of it, my mom and stepdad were rushing me to the ER. They sewed my thumb back on, and the doctor said I wouldn't be able to use my thumb for the next 6 months to a year. But after 5 to 6 weeks, the doctor wanted to see it and see how it progressed. We unwrapped it, and I could move it. My thumb healed all the way, and I could move it just fine. The funny part of this was the doctors got white and went out and got 4 more doctors to come in and see it, and thought that was kind of a trip. So, yeah, that's wild. So you got some superhuman healing powers there. My brother, same thing happened to my brother, not with a log splitter, but working on a car. And it took him a while. He had to go have surgery and a pin put in his thumb and everything. So, yeah. Wow. That's awesome. Okay. I just wanted to get them shared. I'll probably find more, but I want to get to the main story that I got for you. I went past it. This was a ways back, so here we go. This is our Bigfoot or Sasquatch story. Very interesting. This is wild. Wait until you hear this. Hi, everyone. My name is Sandra. I live in the western side of Michigan in the Manistee Forest area. I am in the country, but there are houses all around the forest here, and it is a high traffic area in the summer because of all the food packaging plants around us, farmers, trucks, and vegetables, etc. Still very much in the forest, though. I reside on 19 acres. The house still sits quite close to the road. On the right side of the property is a field that is planted with soy and corn rotation. On the left of me is a small patch of forest, like a 2-minute walk through from the neighbors. Not too thick, but behind the house, there's about 3 acres back, woods, untamed woods, with very little human interaction. I prefer it that way. We have brown bears, and our neighbor caught a photo of a couple of cougars breeding in the yard, which we supposedly don't have them. But then there's the evidence. And we also have wild pigs that don't really come out till after 3 a.m. I found tracks along the property line where the corn is planted. I saw piglet prints 2 times 1 year. So that's the largest of the beasts we knowingly have in the area, obviously, as well as deer. What happened one day just about had me losing my mind. In the back of the property here, we have a long line of tall pines. There's one especially taller than the rest. It pretty much towers over the rest. The rest aren't small either. This is one of the this one is just massively large. I was out gardening, which is only about an acre length walk from the beginning of the forest tree line. All of a sudden, I hear this blood-curdling scream of a piglet. They bed down back there, as I've owned pigs and witnessed the swallows they make as a nest, and saw them while on walks back there. I was alarmed, and then I heard what sounded like a giant cat growling and groaning, and a large pig all of a sudden screaming, and both kept going on. I figured the neighborhood cougar had gotten their dinner, but it wasn't over. As I watched in the direction of the commotion, not being able to see anything but trees, I was terrified as I watched the tallest peak of the tallest pine tree shaking violently. I looked back and forth in disbelief, checking to see if there was any other things moving, trying to convince myself that it must be the wind, which there wasn't. But at the same time, my brain did not want to accept something so alien as to what else could shake one single massive tree. Just as I was trying to get my wits about that, I froze in complete fear over the noise that joined in with the squeals and screams. And the best I could say is it sounded blood-curdling. Death was happening. And then a huge, gigantic groan of the deepest, loudest, angry ape-like sound roared through the air. I was immobile, terrified as to what could this be. My mind went to Sasquatch. It was the only explanation. It kept up over and over again. Piglet squealing, mama pig, I'm assuming, snorting and squealing, what sounds like a large cat in full attack mode. I heard some groans that sounded like a bear and then like King Kong. It was loud and deep. It couldn't be any other creature besides an ape or a man. So distinct, and I know for a fact we don't have any apes here. It also was so loud, wild, and deep that no man could have made that noise. I also know there's no animals in these woods that sound like this. I have no words to describe the sound, all rolled into one. And the trees flailing back and forth as if they were just a simple weed. It was 10 times more terrifying than when you hear two dogs fighting and you can't stop it. The noises and the tree commotion went on for about 3 minutes and then just silence. I used to take walks back there for hours at a time. I haven't been back there since. Just before that incident, because I thought I was following a bear along that dirt trail once. And it defecated right in front of me somehow, and I didn't even see it. It was still steaming. I could smell disgusting, musky, stinky, but sweet. Also smell in the air about a half an hour before I saw the steaming scat. I have never smelled a bear up close, but I've never seen one close that day either. I don't know how it could have not seen it, as the trail was wide, even with the trees around. I had a clear shot of what was in front of me, and only thing I saw was a pile of steaming rear end leftovers. I thought I should be safer and not walk alone out there. So then that ruckus by the house happened not long after. People could say it was a bear hollering or growling, but I am an avid animal lover and watch everything and anything about animals. The only thing this angry sound reminded me of was an extremely angry ape. No, I'm positive there was a piglet and piglets and a cougar. I'm wondering if the cougar got the piglet and the pig came after the cougar, and the Sasquatch got in on it either for territory or for food reasons. Either way, I knew they were out there. I haven't wandered very far in that back since then. I've never been scared to walk in the woods. I used to find it peaceful. Now I can't seem to see myself alone after what happened that day. I never saw Sasquatch in person, and I hope this is the closest I ever get to it, as I would probably urinate myself if I saw one in person. I always look out at the trees, though, just to see if it starts swaying again. Thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for sharing everyone's experiences. It's nice to know I've had an experience like everyone else has witnessed. Sarah, thank you very much for sending that in. Yeah, wow. That's wild. That is definitely enough to give you some chills, make you think about, where you're walking in the woods and stuff. Holy cow. Let us know if you hear anything else out there or see anything, or, maybe talk. I know it sounds crazy, but, just ask around, talk to your neighbors, see if they've heard anything or seen anything out there. You just never know what you might find out. Anyway, thank you so much for sending that to us from all of you guys. Excuse me, from all you guys that sent stuff in. Thank you so very much. We really appreciate it. I'm going to let you get on with your Friday. I'm going to get on with my Friday. It's getting close to dinner time here. So thank you again, and we will see you again very soon.